Hello, welcome to the United Man. My name is Shane. This is the Everton versus Manchester United preview. Now, okay, so last spoke, it was the review of the Leeds game, which was a surprise to say the least. Although I did predict a 2-2 draw, I did also say if Leeds come out and try and beat us and play us off the park, it may play into our hands, and it proved to be the case. Now, that being said, we've managed to get some away form into our home form. 6-2 win, fantastic. Next up is Everton in the quarterfinal of the English Football League Cup. So that's it's an away game, 8 o'clock kickoff. So I'm just hoping, it's really and truly it comes down to selection, and if Ollie chooses to pursue a trophy or rest players. I believe he can possibly do both. Realistically, I do think that he can rest some players and potentially look to pursue the League Cup, obviously taking us into a semi-final berth. That being said, Everton are on very good form as well. It's not just us that are on good form. Premier League form, that is, in terms of performances, up and down, but results, yes, we're the best, well, the form team in the Premier League. Doesn't seem like too long ago that I was actually saying that in regards to being the form side in the Premier League as well. But that being said, I'd like to look at the case of we've got enough players. We've got a squad big enough, whether they're capable, but big enough to actually rest. We're talking, 8 or 9 players, because the game after is against Leicester away in the Premier League. So, and that's on Saturday. So that's early kickoff on Saturday as well, 12:30 kickoff. So, that being said, if we can, I'd be happy to put us in a position of resting a lot of players, like I said, 8 or 9 players, which I think he may do. I think Ollie may rest 8 or 9 players pending certain injuries. But as I say, Everton are on good form. However, they don't have the same level of squad size or quality and depth as we do. So, for example, we can bring in Paul Pogba, Van der Beek, Matic. We can bring Cavani. We take your pick. We've even got Odi Nagalo, who's not even played, who I think is going back anyway in January. So, that being said, if we can manage to put out a side that is going to be competitive and still have quality, because if Everton put out their best starting 11, which I'd imagine they're not wanting to really show the opportunity of winning a trophy necessarily, so I'm hoping that they can realistically be able to try and make an impact, and then be able to, well, like I said, try and see if we can make a run for the final. That's the idea. That's the idea anyway. Is try and make a run for the final. Try and see if we can make an impact. Because obviously last season we won 3 semi-finals, didn't win anything. So if we can improve on that, once you reach the final, anything possible, isn't it? Let's be honest. So if we go with that as a sort of marker, I wanted to also look at the team selection. Let's have a look at the team selection and see what we come up with. Like I said, I'm fairly confident with the depth that we have. I'm looking at this again. This is just my predicted what I think Ollie may go, not necessarily what I want him to go with. Dean Henderson in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Tuanzebe and Alex Telles making up the back 5. Matic, Van der Beek, Pogba. Midfield centre, obviously operating more of a sort of like 2 holding role position as opposed to a 4-3-3. Up top, I think he may go with Daniel James because of his performance in the last game. Edison Cavani because obviously he's been injured but needs some game time as well. And then Mason Greenwood again needs some game time. Didn't play in the Leeds game at all. So, but that being said, if we can, that team to me, as I said, Dean Henderson in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Tuanzebe, Telles. Matic, Van der Beek, Pogba, Greenwood, James, and Cavani. That should be enough to do over. Maybe not Everton's best side, but certainly if Everton decide to drop, one or two of their starters, I'd imagine that's more than enough to, reach the semi-final and put Everton out of the cup. I am hoping. I'm hoping. So, if we can look at the fact that by the way, that prediction is a tough one, but purely because, as I said before, we're not going to be able to. Our form of momentum has been with Bruno Fernandes in the side, and if he doesn't start Bruno Fernandes, which I don't think he needs to realistically, for me, in terms of priority, it's obviously the league, FA Cup. Well, the league, your European competitions, then FA Cup, then League Cup. So for me, the League Cup is at the bottom of the tier. So for me, this is the opportunity that Ollie has to rest some players. And if he doesn't, then it's clearly because he wants to try and win this competition and doesn't feel that he can do it without resting certain personnel. I'm pretty sure we can do with missing Lindelof. Pretty sure of that. Fred could do with a rest. McTominay, I think, is carrying an injury anyway. Bruno Fernandes could do with a rest. And yeah, those three that deputising, playing in their stead, Matic, Van der Beek and Pogba, for me, that's enough quality to, should be enough quality to look after that midfield battle and come out with enough opportunities to score a few goals. Mason Greenwood, obviously, he's not in it as much of, goal scoring form as he was last season, but then again, it's been an up and down season. He's had things going on, so I'm hoping he can get on the score sheet as well. I'm looking at a 2-1 prediction. 2-1. We're away from home. I say we're away from home. Obviously, no crowds as of yet, but I'm hoping that's enough to get the job done. I believe it's enough to get the job done. Will it be enough to get the job done? We shall see. I'm just looking forward to literally just, like I said, I'm of the mindset that, like I said, League Cups for me, it's at the bottom end of the spectrum. As I said, in terms of trophy priorities, always got to be league's got to be number one, then European competition, FA Cup, then the League Cup. So for me, that's your priority in terms of how it's got to be set up. So, or in terms of what you want to go for. And so, with that in mind, this realistically, this is the game where, or the competition, I should say, where you can rest players. If we're not resting players in this game, to reiterate, it's not because Ollie doesn't know what he's doing, or he doesn't want to rest players, or even the fact that players don't need rest. I believe it's because he wants to win this competition, or get to the final, and anything can happen, as they say. I think he should be looking to get some silverware. Like I said, last season we went to 3 semi-finals. If we can better that this season, then we're in with 3 opportunities of winning a trophy. Not to mention the league. Let's leave that there. Let's not mention the league too much. But I do need to reiterate, we are, based on league form, we are the form side in the Premier League. Everton are probably sort of second or third in terms of form as well. So they've been on very good form. So under no illusions, it's going to be a very, very tough game. And anyone who expects any different from Everton's side, especially Carlo Ancelotti at the helm as well, who's, been labelled as a tactical genius, so to speak. But let's not get carried away. Let's have faith in the fact that Ollie's going to pick the right side. Just in case you guys missed my prediction, as I said before, I feel like we're in a position where we can rest players. I've gone for, this is my starting lineup. Alex Telles, Maguire, Twinzabe and Aaron Wan-Bissaka making up the back 4, with Dean Henderson in goal, Pogba, Matic and Donny van der Beek making up the midfield, and Mason Greenwood, Daniel James and Edison Cavani making up the goal scoring main threats. That's my opinion, just an opinion. I'm hoping it's going to be a bit more, but let's see how we go from there. Matt Rush is in the house. Is going to Rushy saying, Both teams will probably rest players. Be amazed if full teams are picked. Couldn't agree more. I'm like I said before. I am hoping that Ollie does rest a few players, and this really is the competition where I feel like he can afford to do so. So that being said, if he rests players, good. But let's not be too overwrought if he doesn't rest players. If he doesn't, I just feel it's a case of he wants to win this competition, and he doesn't feel that there's certain players he can leave out to get the best performance out of this side. So that being said, I'm hopeful. I am hopeful. I'm looking forward to seeing this the selection for tomorrow night's game. After that, it's the Leicester game, then Wolves, then Villa. Have I missed out someone? No. Yeah, so after that, we've got Leicester in the league, Wolves in the league, Aston Villa in the league. Yeah, who knows? We could be sitting pretty in second position by then and ready to face Liverpool. We've got an FA Cup game in between then, third round game against Watford, but I'm hoping we will be sitting pretty in that position once we deal with Leicester and Wolves. And go to Mike. That starting line looks very balanced. What's going on, Mike? My brother, what's going on, man? Yeah, I'm hoping that's the case. Will it be the case? I don't know. We'll have to see whether or not. I'm just hopeful. Like I said, the start. I mean, Mike's there saying it's a balanced team. I agree. It's just for me. There's no reason why Ollie doesn't and can't rest a lot of players. And like Rushy said as well, be surprised if both teams do start. But Everton don't have the quality depth that we do. So that being said, I'm hoping that they do rest a few players, because if they do start their best starting lineup, then we're in for an even tougher game. It won't be an easy game regardless. It's a Carlo Ancelotti team, but if he does start his best starting lineup, we're in for a very, very tough game, especially if we do rest our let's say starting caliber players. But it's not too much of a bad lineup that we can put out as well. So I'm hopeful, man. Let's just be let's remain hopeful. Also, later on today, I'm doing it's the first in the series of the Old Rivals podcast at 5:15. That will be with some Arsenal fans as well. It'll be me against a couple of Arsenal fans. So 5:15 later on. Make sure you tune in for that. Also, from Monday next week, I am on Flying Pigs channel doing another podcast. So I'll put that out there anyway on my on Twitter as well. So I'm looking forward to that as well. But I'm just hopeful tomorrow night we get the result, move on to the semi-final, and then bag a final place as well. I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, as I said, I will be back on at 5:15 later on today with my new podcast with some guests. Podcast is called Old Rivalry Podcast. Old Rivalries Podcast. So we'll resume a bit later, hopefully, and I shall see you guys a little bit later. Much appreciated for joining me. Take care, guys. Stay